Hey guys, people are asking for a garden update, so here it is. The asparagus isn't doing anything second year. I would have expected it would grow normal on its second year, but it looks just the same as the first. Our peas are not yet growing. Most of them got eaten off, and it's now a wee bed. There's a ground squirrel we're trying to get. Kale is looking really good. This has been transplanted twice, once from starting tray and once from a garden bed she put it in. Our peppers are scorched and it's been very dry, very brutal out here. The beans are not looking any better. A couple plants are really good, but the others are just suffering. A lot of them got eaten off by ground squirrels, but are somehow recovering. Some of them are. The ground squirrel was eating off the tips, and that was quite a battle. We still haven't got him, but they're bigger now, so they can handle it a little bit better. Some plants are growing, others are not. They're yellowish, so I'm not sure what they're missing nutrients wise. It's really weird. Now the potatoes over here are looking the best of anything this year. The potatoes are really growing well, and Melanie has held them up, so that's good. And the corn, this is purple corn, which I sprouted from kernels that we bought. We bought some corn at the farmer's market in the fall, and I sprouted them, and we put them out here to grow. Then they're the best of anything. Now our summer squash is recovering from the freeze that we had, and is starting to give us some fruit. So in a couple more weeks we're going to have some summer squash going on here, and I'm going to put some more fertilizer out for these. It looks like a cucumber. Some of them are still stunted from the freeze, but alive. They're trying. There's one that's just still struggling, but they're trying to grow. Down here a lot of them died out entirely. These here really took off and recovered from the bad weather. I don't know what they are though. Melanie lost her notes, so I don't know. And this one, which was the best, is finally starting to recover from the freeze. I don't know if they'll grow in time this year or not, so we'll see how it goes. Some more kale. Mustard greens, we learned after the fact that you should cut them and harvest them entirely at a small age, but the problem is even the tiny ones went to seed. So I don't know if it was because it was so hot, but I mean you can't harvest that. There's nothing there. They all went to seed on us rapidly, and they say after they start to go to seed, then they're too large for eating the leaves. Otherwise you could eat the leaves directly. Our cabbage and broccoli plants, again, we're not quite sure what's what until they start to grow, because she lost her notes. Now, this looks like Swiss chard, I think, but I don't know what she had here. Oh, that's Swiss chard, definitely right there. Okay, so I don't know what this is. I'll have to ask her on that. There's a big mustard plant. Our peppers are finally recovering from the freeze, and they're starting to grow a lot of little branches inside there. What's what, I'm not sure. As far as, I mean, what that growth is, I don't see any flowers yet on any of them. Oh, wait, here, this one next to it, though, is a different type of pepper. You can tell it's got some flowers coming. We're going to have some fruit. There's some flowers and heads coming in that, so we got some peppers growing. Some of our tomatoes, oddly, this row died entirely from the freeze, and this row recovered right next to them. I don't figure that one out, but they're starting to grow. I'm going to add some more fertilizer out here as well. I had thrown out Epsom salt, and we got to add more fertilizer. Oh, look at that. Purslane. I can't grow that intentionally. I can't keep it alive for anything. And here we got some growing. That is one of the healthiest herbs that we cut out as weeds. That's full of omega-3s and a lot of healthy nutrients. I think one day I'll do a video on that. but I've never been able to keep it growing. And then there's the little wannabe imitation that grows next to them always. You can see the soil here is very fertile and organic, full of chunks and nutrients, very healthy. And then again, some kind of the cabbage family of plants. Here, our peas are starting to grow a little bit better. We do have some flowers coming in finally. So, but it's pitiful this year. It's very, very pitiful. I think I'm going to start another batch of peas and drop them in along with these, because peas have a shorter lifespan. They'll grow, fruit out, and die. So I think I'm going to drop some more seeds in here because we keep this really moist. The tomatoes are really weird now this year because of the damage that they suffered. They're growing out in a very strange way. But that's our garden update, guys. It is growing, but whether we'll have fruit or not from them, I'm not sure. It's just, it was a horrible, horrible year for them. Over here in the band sawmill, I was just checking to see if my old blue, this is the old blue SXL Homelight, would fit. And I had freed up, I thought about half, but I freed up about a quarter of the chain, enough to get it on here and work it around the clutch to see if it would work. I don't have the cover on because I wanted to see, just to see if it would fit. And I held up the original bar next to the Homelight bar next to this one, and everything lines up beautifully. So the drive sprockets, the drive teeth, and the sprockets on the clutch, and everything line up nicely. So this is going to work for me. It is. And that is a really nice thing to know. I was hoping this would fit. I thought it would fit, but until I got it on here and spun the chain around the sprockets to see how it works, I wasn't quite sure. It is an older chain. The drive teeth are a little bit worn. Everything's quite worn. You can see compared to my newer Homelight chain, although this is a ripping chain compared to a normal crosscut chain, but you can see there's a lot of space here. Some of these teeth are worn back pretty far as compared to the newer chain on the Homelight. So anyway, I'm going to take this in and find me a new chain. But I do want to work this out. I do want to get this chain fixed anyway, and you know, do some practice cuts on this and experiment with this old chain before I get going with a new one. So I'm going to keep working on this, and also to have as a backup. Plus, the previous owner told me, when the way this is set up, once I take this all apart, right now he said it's lined up and it's precisely and perfectly level. Alright? Once you take it apart, he said it's really tough to get this bar absolutely leveled, because you're going to have to take off the clamps and play with the screws. You're going to have to make sure your platform's leveled and adjust the screws to make sure your bar is leveled if you change the chain, if you take the chain off like this. For me to take this chain off, I'll actually have to cut a link out and then get a master link to replace that. So he told me when I get a new chain, get a master link and then attach it here, pound it against a piece of metal on here on the machine. So it's not really easy to swap them out like that, and basically you sharpen it on the mill. And what you do to do that, you can lay this whole thing over on its side. I've been reading, I got the owner's manual for it, I downloaded it in PDF. You lay this over on its side and you can go ahead and sharpen that chain manually. But there it is, guys, with the drive head on it. I know some people were asking me what I was going to run it with, what was I going to drive it with, and there it is. The old Homelight is what I'm going to use to run it. The starter's on the bottom, so it's going to be interesting to see how that works. And to fuel it up, you lay it over on its side, the whole unit over on its side, to fuel it and oil it, and then do your service. And that's right out of the handbook, right out of the owner's manual. So there you go, guys. I'm going to work on this a little bit. It's still wet, very, very wet. It rained, fortunately, quite heavily in the night. So I'm going to sit here and work on this chain a little bit and free up some of those links. Some of the fish we got the other day, all panfish, a little egg sac Melanie threw on here. We have heavily salted it, and this is going in the oven in the trailer. The pilot light from the gas oven will help. Now the salt is going to draw out the moisture from the fish, and that's going to pool up in the bottom of this pan. We're using glass because it's non-corrosive. It won't be rusted like metal would. If you use a metal pan, it'll eat right through it. So anyway, the moisture, the liquids are going to be drawn out and pool in the bottom of the pan, and we're going to drain that off every day and continue adding salt as needed, because obviously it's all going to run off until there's no moisture left in this fish, and then we'll probably vacuum seal it and put it away. One problem with the rain, or the sun after rain, it's 93 degrees and 44% humidity. It's 75% inside. Sort of yucky. I'm actually going to open the windows to let the humidity out. But what we got here is anything over 23% at this temperature feels really, really, really sweaty hot. And that's what I got going on. I'm inside drinking and cooling down more than I'm working. But I'm trying to get stuff done. Trying to work at it. Well, I've got good news and I got bad news. Good news is I do believe it's going to fit and work. Other good news is I got the chain freed up, every single link freed up. Bad news is it's either just too long by a couple links, or it's just too old and stretched. Putting the tension on to the fullest extension on here was not enough. There's way too much play. So, it's not going to work. Now well, it's not worth taking out links and putting in a master on this old chain anyway. But maybe I'll continue cleaning it, soak it in some vinegar, and continue cleaning it for a standby one day. But it's not working for this saw. So that is the end of that for now. So, this project will be set aside for the time being. But I did free up every single link on this. It took me hours, but I sat down and did it. It was too hot and humid to do anything else, so I worked them one at a time using pliers, this right here, and got them all freed up. Looks like another thunderstorm brewing. We had a good heavy rain last night. It's supposed to be raining the next 2-3 days on and off. So I think I'll clean up my tools for now. This might be passing north, but I'm not sure. Well, we went out and got about 3 more pounds of blueberries together, and they're really good this year. So we plan on putting away about 30 pounds. That's my goal, and a lot of that for dried berries for pemmican for later in the deer season.